Move on. I'm going a little fast because I'm on a time crunch now. We're going to move on to the subject of New Hampshire. You guys know I live in New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire. New Hampshire is the only place I'd like to live. And one of the interesting things about New Hampshire is that in the state of New Hampshire, Democrats are more afraid of libertarians than they are of Republicans. And that's because of the Free State Project. The Free State Project is an initiative to get libertarians to concentrate in a small geographic area so that they can take over the government and pass libertarian things and do libertarian things and create a nice little libertarian society. And the thing is that we're actually winning. We're actually winning. We know that's not why he's bad. People can disagree with me. People disagree with me all the time. I don't like being stabbed in the back. That's not why he's bad. So what's going on in New Hampshire is essentially so many libertarians have moved to New Hampshire, and what they do is they register as Republicans, and then they get elected to be state reps. And about 25% of our current House in New Hampshire are free staters. They're libertarians that are registered as Republicans. And so because of that, libertarians actually do have a fair bit of political power in New Hampshire, and they're able to pass libertarian bills like getting rid of taxes and school choice and anti-CRT stuff, and they're doing stuff with Bitcoin, and they banned mask mandates, and they banned vaccine registries. They do all sorts of things that have led to New Hampshire being named the #1 free state in the country. Jared just moved here because of this stuff. Jared, I'm sorry I didn't see you at Taproom Tuesday. I just got pulled into something, and I apologize for not showing up, but we will get together eventually. And so the reason I bring this up is there's actually been like 3 articles this week in different New Hampshire newspapers that are attacking the Free State Project. And I just thought that this tweet was funny. This is from a guy named Mark Nozell. I actually used to be friends with Mark back when I was a Democrat. Mark lives in my town. Mark's wife, Wendy, used to be my state rep. She blocked me on Twitter while she was my state rep, which is not legal. But Mark is a lefty. And he went to this anti-war rally. There was an anti-war rally in Concord yesterday. And Mark went to this anti-war rally and he took pictures. And apparently people that are anti-war are right-wing extremists and Nazis, according to Democrats. That's literally, like I said, like if you're anti-war, Nazi, according to Democrats in New Hampshire. But here's what I wanted to show you. This is one of the articles that was written about the free state movement. I just want to show you guys how off the rails Democrats in New Hampshire are about the free staters, because it is actually hilarious. Because what happens when they write these articles is they actually make the Free State Project sound like awesome. They inadvertently promote the Free State Project. Free State Movement seeks to dismantle New Hampshire government. Yes. They wrote that headline as a bad thing. They think it's bad that the Free State Project wants to dismantle the government. That is an endorsement. Yes, that is an endorsement, because the Free State Project is awesome. Here's why you should care. The people of Croydon, New Hampshire, elected and installed a childless married couple, Ian and Jody Underwood, respectively as their select and school board chairs. 15 years ago, the Underwoods relocated from Pennsylvania to colonize the town as members of the Free State Movement. They're both experienced education professionals committed to the Free State Movement's agenda regarding the minimization of public services. In February 2020, Ian Underwood, as the select board chair, moved to fire the police chief during a selectmen's meeting. The motion carried. The chief, who was present, was instructed to turn in his equipment and uniforms. He complied by going into an empty office, stripping off his uniform, and returning it and his equipment, and he walked home in a snowstorm wearing just his underwear. I didn't know that story. returning it and his equipment, we were that at the next town meeting, his salary was stricken from the budget, saving the town $31,000 per year. Subsequently, the cost of policing Croydon was passed to the state of New Hampshire. The state police are now tasked with patrolling the town. Should this precedent become common, the effectiveness of the state police will be degraded until they can staff up to meet demands. Well, given what we just heard about the police system, the effectiveness of the state police being, lessened might not actually be that bad of a thing. So that sounds like an endorsement to me. Many of the townspeople are tired of increasing school budgets. The majority of people are tired of being treated as a resource. They are tired of being treated like farm animals to be used. Now, before we read this next paragraph, and I've kind of covered this on the channel already this week, so here's what you need to know about how schools are paid for in New Hampshire. They are paid for by our property taxes. Therefore, just because someone doesn't have children, because this article went out of their way in the first sentence to say that this was a childless couple, just because someone has children doesn't mean they don't pay for the schools, because the schools are funded with our property tax. 2/3 of our property taxes go to fund the schools. So it doesn't actually matter if you have kids or not. You're still paying for the public schools with your property taxes. If you own property and if you're a renter, then your rent is dictated partially by the property tax as well. At this year's school district meeting, roughly 60 to 100 people attended. Of those, less than 40 of the 450 voters in a town of 800 were present. Underwood, as select board chair, presented an amendment to the school district budget, reducing it from $1.7 million to $800,000. Croydon cut their school budget in half. Literally, free staters in New Hampshire are defunding the schools. You'll love to see it. The vote passed 20-14. It took less than 5% of the town's registered voters to redefine the school district. That should give everyone hope. It should give everyone hope that when people are not paying attention, you can swoop in there with just a couple dozen people and completely defund the schools. This is a white pill moment if there has ever been one. It took 20 people to save $1 million in the school's budget. I think that's a victory. In Croydon, grades K through 4 are educated in the town's one-room schoolhouse. Grades 5 through 12 students are not tuitioned to other public or private schools, are also educated in the building. From that landscape, the school board headed by Judge Joy Underwood must now determine what impact will the state voucher program have on the remaining budget. Will they abandon their school choice program? What in-house curricula will need to be cut? What ongoing and proposed projects will need to be canceled? Jesus Christ, so many ads on this site. How many teacher and staff positions will be eliminated? How will contractual pay raises and benefits be addressed? Well, by cutting the budget. A macro view of the Free State Movement's government minimalization campaign reveals that this is the first successful scale down of a New Hampshire school district. Their core beliefs are that most governmental services are unnecessary or bloated. Yes. They reject the concept of the common good as being a socialist principle. Yes. In their worldview, you are only responsible for your part of the planet. Yes. You have no obligation to pay for anything you don't directly use or control. Yes. In short, they embody the state's motto, live free or die, on steroids. Precisely. Precisely, Democrats. All of that is correct. But you guys gotta understand how they've written this is like, this is supposed to be an indictment of the Free State Project, and instead it reads like a paid effing advertisement. This also explains their ends justify the means approach to governance. Pack the annual state budget with legislation that was neither debated nor voted on. In some cases, the legislation, school vouchers, has been resoundingly rejected by the state's voters. But for the Free State Movement, when you have the power You do as you wish. Abso-freaking-lutely. The recent budget packing incident was facilitated by Free State Movement members, including the Speaker of the New Hampshire House, possibly assisted by the Commissioner of Education. However, the governor was able to stay clear of this exercise with 45 of the 206 Republican seats. The Free State Movement constitutes the largest voting bloc within the party. I'm going to say that again. Libertarians in New Hampshire constitute the largest voting bloc within the Republican Party. Bet we're looking a little bit better than Florida right now, aren't we? The group has devolved the former New Hampshire Republican Party into a subdivision of the Free State Movement. They have demonstrated their power by overriding the governor's vetoes at will. From their perspective, he has become a lame duck within his own party. Well, that's not actually true. But God willing, someday. House Bill 1671 provides a stark example of the Free State Movement's approach. The Commissioner of Education introduced a bill to the House Education Committee redefining what constitutes an adequate education. The state Supreme Court mandates that the state provide funding to ensure New Hampshire students receive one. The commissioner's action was a preemptive attempt to reset the state's responsibility in this regard. It was necessary to prevent a setback should the Supreme Court rule in the Conval School District's favor in their pending litigation. Let me explain something to you guys. The education commissioner in New Hampshire, his name is Frank Edelbutt. Frank has like 7 kids. He has like an ungodly amount of kids. I might be wrong about the 7, but it's like somewhere in that vicinity. I don't think any of Frank's kids have actually gone to public school. So the education commissioner in the state of New Hampshire does not subject his own children to public school. That's how based New Hampshire is, dude. I mean, for real. The Free State Movement's proposed solution was actually a reprise of the 1954 Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court ruling. The difference is that instead of the statute being based on race, it's based on school district income. In essence, by invoking separate but equal, the Free State Movement would have initiated class warfare between New Hampshire towns on relative wealth. Ultimately, the bill that should have died in committee was rewritten to apply existing standards, enhance them, and voted into law. Well, actually, to be fair, they wanted it applied to everyone. However, it's time for a reckoning. What happened in Croydon and with HB 1671 is the portent for our future. In the coming months, you should expect to see more pieces of legislation follow this pattern. Announcements of new pieces of legislation resolving heretofore unknown problems will become commonplace. The common thread will either be retargeting of a revenue source or a decrease in the service being provided. The state will divest itself of any financial responsibility, bearing a cost that cannot be shifted to the federal government or the individual. Should an individual require a state service that is no longer provided, that will be their concern. Yes. Do you regard New Hampshire as your state? If so, then vote and take it back from the evil Free Staters. Otherwise, mendacity will continue to reign and drain the remnants of democracy from the heart of our fair state. That's quite an endorsement of the Free State Project, wouldn't you say? We actually sound really powerful when it's written like this.